and the bull. The king says, it's a duty, it's my duty to protect you. How is it that in my kingdom you're all suffering? There was no case of suffering in my kingdom. But when I'm seeing this, I'm completely shocked. 16th verse from today. 16th verse. So he's asking, who has caused you suffering? Rakyo hi paramo dharma swadharmasthanupalanam shasatonyana yashasastram anapadi utpathan iha. Rakya means the king. Paramaha dharma, it is the parama dharma, the supreme duty of the king. What is his duty? To protect, anupadanam, to always give protection. To whom? To one who is faithful in his prescribed duties. Swadharmastaha. To give protection to the law-abiding persons. Swadharmastaha. Shasataha anyanyatha shastram. Anya means others. Those people, utpathan yani utpathan kaam karna. That means those who are not following the scriptures, he has to chastise them. It is the duty of the king to chastise those who stray for the ordinance of the scriptures in ordinary times when there is no emergency. So very clearly it has been said, to protect those who are following the scriptures and to chastise those who are not following the scriptures. So, apada dharma. There is a mention of apada dharma or occupational duty of times of extraordinary happenings. It is said that sometimes a great sage Vishwamitra had to live on the flesh of dogs. This apada dharma means sometimes emergency, where there is no solution. At that time, such cases are allowed to live on the flesh of the animals. Something because one has to keep his body and soul together. For that, if some emergency is there, then it's okay. Then he is allowed to kill. It happened also in the case of Vishwamitra. But that is not encouraging the slaughterhouse. Slaughterhouse is for sense gratification. Prabhupada writes in the purport. Slaughterhouses are meant for sense gratification. But apada dharma means where sometime emergency, then one has to do it. Okay. Here, Shri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives a commentary. What is the use in punishing one person and not punishing another? The verse answers, he punishes those who are sinful. Okay. Vimla Mataji, read.
Hare Krishna. Purport. In the scriptures, there is mention of apad dharma, or occupational duty at times of extraordinary happenings. It is said that sometimes the great sage Vishwamitra had to live on the flesh of dogs in some extraordinary dangerous positions. In case of emergency, one may be allowed to live on the flesh of animals of all descriptions, but that does not mean that there should be regular slaughterhouses to feed the animal eaters, and that this system should be encouraged by the state. No one should try to live on flesh in ordinary times simply for the sake of the palate. If anyone does so, the king or the executive head should punish him for gross enjoyment. There are regular scriptural injunctions for different persons engaged in different occupational duties, and one who follows them is called swadharmastha, or faithful in one's prescribed duties. In the Bhagavad Gita 18.48, it is advised that one should not give up his occupational prescribed duties even if they are not always flawless. Such swadharma might be violated in cases of emergency if one is forced by circumstances, but they cannot be violated in ordinary times. The state executive head is to see that such swadharma is not changed by the follower, whatever it may be, and he should give all protection to the follower of swadharma. The violator is subject to punishment in terms of the Shastra, and the duty of the king is to see that everyone strictly follows his occupational duty as prescribed in the scripture. Hare Krishna.
He has to follow his occupational duty. Sometimes, out of emergency, he can give up. But that is not counted as sinful activities. Out of emergency, like Vishwamitra's example is given. Now let us see what Bull answers. The personification of Dharma. Dharma uvacha etadvah pandavethanam yuktam arthaya bhayam vachah yesham gunaganai krishno dautyadau bhagavan krutah. So now Dharma is praising Parishit Maharaj. He says, you are from Pandav dynasty. That is why these words of yours, all these vaha, that means whatever you have spoken now, that is yuktam, that is just befitting. Because you are coming from the Pandav dynasty. Pandavas are real Kshatriyas. Kshatrayatehe Kshatriya. We have studied in Bhagavad Gita. Kshatrayatehe, one who protects others from harm, is Kshatriya. Because you have given such wonderful words, now I am free from all the fears. Artah abhayam. Vachaha. What vachana? What wonderful speech. You have freed me from all the fear. Abhayam vachaha. Yesham gunaganahi Krishnaha. Because he's so attracted by your qualities, even Bhagavan, Lord, did the duty of a messenger. Why should he become a messenger? You could have sent some messenger, na? Can we do such menial task? Just going and giving some message? Can we become a driver? If somebody says, oh, drive my vehicle, will we do that? That is why we can never compete with Lord. He is greater of the greatest, and then greatest of the greatest, and he is the lowest of the lowest also. He can take any position, but still he remains Achyuta. Because he is attracted by your qualifications, Guna Gulhaihi, the qualifications of the Pandavas. That is why Lord performed the duty as a messenger. That is why he is Bhakta Vatsala. Like mother does all the menial tasks for the child. But still mother never loses her position. That is the quality of a mother. In the same way, Krishna is Bhakta Vatsala. For his devotees, he can take any position. When Yudhishthira Maharaj was doing the yajna, he removed all the jhuta. He was cleaning the whole place after people were eating. So Krishna can do any task. If Nanda Baba says, bring my chappal, Krishna does that. That time he doesn't say, hey, to whom are you speaking? Huh? I am the Supreme Person. He likes. In fact, the devotion which has awe and reverence, that becomes weakened when compared to the love which is very simple. Brajavasi's love for Krishna is so simple that they are not aware that they are speaking to Krishna. They are speaking to the Supreme Person. In the same way, the Pandavas also were not aware that he is a Supreme Person till Lord showed the Vishwarupa. Arjuna was not knowing. When he saw the Vishwarupa, he says, oh, hey Krishna, hey Sakha, hey Madhaveti, what I used to call you? I used to call you Ye Yadu, I used to call you Ye Sakha. So Krishna is captivated by the devotional qualities of Pandavas. Okay, Raksha Mataji, read.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai ho. The assurance and the challenges made by the Maharaj Parikshit are never exaggeration of his real power. The Maharaj said that even the denizens of heaven could not escape his straitened government if they were violators of religious principles. He was not falsely proud. For a devotee of the Lord is equally as powerful as the Lord, or sometimes more powerful by his grace. And any promise made by a devotee, though it may be ordinarily very difficult to fulfill, is properly executed by the grace of the Lord. The Pandavas, by their unalloyed devotional service and full surrender unto the Lord, made it possible for the Lord to become a chariot driver or sometimes their later messenger. Such duties executed by the Lord for his devotee are always very pleasing to the Lord, because the Lord wants to render service to his unalloyed devotee, whose life has no other engagement than to serve the Lord with full love and devotion. Maharaj Parikshit, grandson of Arjun, the celebrated friendly servitor of the Lord, was a pure devotee of the Lord like his grandfather, and therefore the Lord was always with him, even from the time when he was helplessly lying in the womb of his mother and was attacked by the blazing Brahmastra weapon of Aswatthama. A devotee is always under the protection of the Lord, and therefore the assurance of protection by Maharaj Parikshit could never be without meaning. The personality of religion accepted this fact and thus thanked the king for his being true to his exalted position. Hare Krishna.
A devotee is always under the protection of Lord. Therefore, the assurance given by Maharaj Parikshit could never be without meaning. The personality of religion accepted this fact and he said, yes, Parikshit, because you were protected from Brahmastra by Lord Krishna. So naturally, the devotee has the power to protect others also. So whatever you say is completely truth. It's a complete truth. Now the question is, who has caused you the suffering? Somebody may cause the suffering, and that is the effect on the living entity. So cause and effect. He says, I don't know. Very difficult to ascertain. He could have told, na, this person who has taken the form of who has disguised himself as a king, this person is the cause of my suffering. He could have told very clearly. Maharaj Parishit is asking, who has done this? Still, what is he saying? Just see. Na vayam klesha bijani yata isyu purusharshabha purusham tam vijaniyo vakya bheda vimohitaha. Na vayam klesha bijani. I don't know who has caused me suffering. Yeshasyu purusharshabha Purusha, Rishabha, you are the Rishabha. You are the greatest of all the human beings. I don't know from where it has come. Purusham tam vijanimaha vakya bhedaha vimohitaha. Because I'm completely bewildered about the different opinions given by philosophers, theoretical philosophers. There are 6 systems of philosophy: Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Yoga. Then you have Sankhya, Karma Mimamsa, Uttar Mimamsa. That is, Uttar Mimamsa is also Vedanta Darshan. And in this is all 6 systems of atheistic philosophy. This is not nothing theistic philosophy, it is atheistic philosophy. Sarva Karana Karanam is Krishna. But when the Karana is something differently told by the sages, that becomes atheistic philosophy. How can there be a cause apart from Krishna? It is Lord who is the cause for everything. So I am confused, he says. It is very difficult to ascertain who has caused our suffering, because we are completely bewildered by the statements given by different theoretical speakers or philosophers. Let us see Nyaya. Nyaya ascertain that atoms are the cause for everything. Vaisheshika ascertains it is molecules which is the cause. So Nyaya, who is the author of Nyaya? It is Gautama. Vaisheshika The author is Kannada. Then Patanjali says, no, it is yoga. Just imagine for some time have an imaginary Paramatma. He is the cause. Yoga is the cause. Cause and effect. These are all atheistic only. Then Sankhya. Nature is the cause. Jaimini says nature is the cause. Sorry, Kapila says nature is the cause. So this is atheistic Kapila, not the Lord Kapila. Atheistic Kapila says it is Sankhya is the cause. Nature is the cause. Then Jaimini says, no, your karma is the cause of your suffering and the effect, whatever. That is Jaimini says. And then Vedanta Sutras, that is Uttara Vimamsha, where somewhere Lord has been introduced but not in a full way. Again, it is impersonal philosophy, which has been given by Vyasadeva. To some extent, impersonalism has been spoken. That is why that also comes in atheistic philosophy only. So these are the theoretical philosophers who have given different reasons for the cause and effect. So I'm completely confused. Who has caused me suffering? Atom, molecule, or imaginary Paramatma, or this nature, or my own karma, or some impersonal Brahman? Who has done this? I don't know. Okay, go further, Aruna.
Hare Krishna. Purport, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. There are many theoretical philosophers in the world who put forward their own theories of cause and effect, especially about the cause of suffering and its effect on different living beings. Generally, there are 6 philosophers. Kannada, the author of Vaisheshika philosophy, Gautama, the author of logic, Patanjali, the author of mystic yoga, Kapila, the author of Sankhya philosophy, Jaimini, the author of Karma Mimamsa, and Vyasadeva, the author of Vedanta Darshana. Although the bull, or the personality of religion, and the cow, the personality of earth, knew perfectly well that the personality of Kali was direct cause of their suffering, still as devotees of the Lord, they knew well also that without the sanction of the Lord, no one could inflict trouble upon them. According to the Padma Purana, our present trouble is due to the fructifying of seeding sins, but even those seedling sins also gradually fade away by execution of pure devotional service. And thus, if the devotees see the mischief mongers, they do not accuse them for the sufferings inflicted. They take it for granted that the mischief monger is made to act by some indirect cause, and therefore they tolerate the sufferings, thinking them to be God-given in small doses, for otherwise the suffering should have been greater. Maharaja Parikshit wanted to get a statement of accusation against the direct mischief monger, but they declined to give it on the above mentioned grounds. Speculative philosophers, however, do not recognize the sanction of the Lord. They try to find out the cause of sufferings in their own way, as will be described in the following verses. According to Srila Jiva Goswami, such speculators are themselves bewildered, and thus they cannot know that the ultimate cause of all causes is the Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead. Hare
That is why
Krishna.
there is an atheistic philosophy. Because they have not accepted Krishna as the supreme cause of all causes. Ishvara Parama Krishna, Sachidananda Vigraha, Anadiradir Govinda, Sarva Karana Karanam. That has not been understood. Now 19th verse. Keche Vikalpa Vasana Ahuratmanamaatmanah Daivamanye Pare Karma Svabhavam Apare Prabhum. Some of the followers who deny all sorts of duality declare that one's own self is responsible for his personal happiness and distress. Others say superhuman powers are responsible, yet others say activity is responsible. And the gross materialists maintain that nature is the ultimate cause. Keti the Vikalpa Vasanaha. Vikalpa Vasanaha. So those who deny all kinds of duality, they declare. Now they are not saying that happiness and distress is because of this and that person. No, they're denying all those things. They say one's own self is the cause. Somebody says no, superhuman is the cause. Somebody says our own activity is the cause. Some say material nature is the cause. Some say some planet, superhuman means here planets are the cause. Graha dosha. So they are denying the duality. In the life, there is always a duality, but they are denying the duality. They say this person is a cause, that person. Graha dosha is that is why you are suffering. Your own self is a cause of suffering. Your activity is a cause of suffering. In this way, they maintain. They say that gross materialists maintain that the nature is the ultimate cause. Like this, they are holding responsible others. Sometimes they hold responsible themselves also, but sometimes they hold responsible others, like superhuman powers, activity, gross materialists in this way. Okay. Gyandeep Prabhu, you read. Unmute yourself, Prabhu. Not coming. Okay,
As
Sanjay.
referred to above, readiness.
I think your voice is not coming properly,
Shall I
Prabhu.
continue?
No, you
Just
don't.
1 minute.
Don't read. Mute yourself. Sanjay Prabhu, you read. If your net is slow, don't read.
Hare Krishna Mataji. As referred to above, philosophers like Gemini and his followers established that fruitive activity is the root cause of all distress and happiness, and that even if there is a superior authority, some superhuman powerful god or gods, he or they are also under the influence of fruitive activity because they reward result according to one's action. They say that action is not independent because action is performed by some performer. Therefore, the performer himself is the cause of his own happiness or distress. In the Bhagavad Gita 6.5 also it is confirmed that by one's mind freed from material affection, one can deliver himself from the sufferings of material pangs. So one should not entangle oneself in matter by the mind's material affections. Thus, one's own mind is one's friend or enemy in one's material happiness and distress. Atheistic materialistic Sankhyates conclude that material nature is the cause of all causes. According to them, combinations of material elements are the causes of material happiness and distress, and disintegration of matter is the cause of freedom from all material pangs. Gautam and Kannada find that atomic combination is the cause of everything, and impersonalists like Ashtavakra discover that the spiritual effulgence of Brahman is the cause of all causes. But in the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord himself declares that he is the source of impersonal Brahman, and therefore he, the personality of Godhead, is the ultimate cause of all causes. It is also confirmed in the Brahma Samhita that Lord Krishna is the ultimate cause of all causes. Hare Krishna.
So, 6th chapter, 5th verse in Bhagavad Gita says, Atmaiva hi Atmano Bandhu, Atmaiva Ripur Atmanaha. Mind is Atma itself is a friend of the soul. That means mind is a friend of the soul. At the same time, mind is the enemy of the soul. Bhagavad Gita speaks about it. So sometimes Atma is held responsible, mind is held responsible. Atheistic philosophies, they hold responsible the nature, the karma in this way. Now let us see, 20th verse. Now all these things are spoken by Bull. I don't know who is the cause. There are different speakers who are mentioning different causes.
Mataji, Vyasdev is the author of Bhagavatam, then how he said is atheistic here?
Afterwards, Narada visited, then only. After Narada visited, then only he wrote Bhagavatam. Till that time, it was only Karma Kand which was given. Impersonal Brahman was focused. Karma Kand was given. अप्रतर्क्याद अनिर्देशयात् देशयाद् इति केशवपि निश्चयः अत्रानुरूपं राजर्षे विमर्शस्व मनीषया. Some thinkers say that there is something beyond thinking. That is a cause. Apratarkyat. That means beyond the power of reasoning. That means where logics end, there bhakti begins. Or there one can understand about Lord. You cannot understand Lord by logics. No one can ascertain the cause of distress by argumentation. The Prabhupada writes. It is definitely concluded. Anarupam. Anarupam is beyond imagination. So judge for yourself who must be the cause. Judge by yourself by thinking for all this with your intelligence. O sage among the kings, O Raja Rishi, I have given you different causes. Hearing from different types of philosophers. But some thinkers say nobody can understand that person who is beyond imagination. No one can understand the cause of distress by some argument. No one can understand it by imagination. No one can express it by words. That means the cause is something beyond our reasoning. That person, it is Lord only. No? Who is that cause? Who is beyond reasoning, beyond our thinking capacity, beyond arguments, beyond our imagination. That person is the cause. Now, slowly, what has been spoken? Paramatma is the cause. Krishna is the cause, who is the cause of also Paramatma. He is the cause. So, even after speaking about the different causes given by the theistic philosophers, here Bull, the Dharma, speaks that some thinkers say nobody can even understand who is the cause. Just by our argument, just by our imagination, just by our expression of the words, it is very difficult. So with your intelligence, understand who must be the cause. Okay. Vrindavan Lila Mataji, read.
Hare Krishna Mataji. The Vaishnavites, the devotees of the Lord, do believe, as above explained, that nothing can take place without the sanction of the Supreme Lord. He is the Supreme Director, for he confirms in the Bhagavad Gita 15.15 that he, as all-pervading Paramatma, stays in everyone's heart and keeps vigilance over all actions and witnesses all activities. The argument of the atheist that one cannot be punished for one's misdeeds unless proved before a qualified justice is refuted herein. For we accept the perpetual witness and constant companion of the living being. A living being may forget all that he might have done in his past or present life, but one must know that in the same tree of the material body, the individual soul and the supreme soul as Paramatma are sitting like two birds. One of them, the living being, is enjoying the fruits of the tree, whereas the supreme being is there to witness the activities. Therefore, the Paramatma feature, the Supreme Soul, is actually the witness of all activities of the living being. And only by his direction can the living being remember or forget what he might have done in the past. He is, therefore, both the pervading impersonal Brahman and the localized Paramatma in everyone's heart. He is the knower of all past, present, and future, and nothing can be concealed from him. The devotees know this truth, and therefore they discharge their duties sincerely without being overly anxious for rewards. Besides that, one cannot estimate the Lord's reactions either by speculation or by scholarship. Why does he put some into difficulty and not others? He is the supreme knower of the Vedic knowledge, and thus he is the factual Vedantist. At the same time, he is the compiler of the Vedanta. No one is independent of him, and everyone is engaged in his service in different ways. In the conditioned state, such services are rendered by the living being under force of the material nature. Whereas in the liberated state, the living being is helped by the spiritual nature in the voluntary loving service of the Lord. There is no incongruity or inebriety in his actions. All are on the path of absolute truth. Bhishma Dev correctly estimated the inconceivable actions of the Lord. The conclusion is therefore that the sufferings of the representative of religion and the representative of the earth, as present before Maharaj Parikshit, were planned to prove that Maharaj Parikshit was the ideal executive head because he knew well how to give protection to the cows, the earth, and the Brahmanas, that's religious principles, the two pillars of spiritual advancement. Everyone is under the full control of the Lord. He is quite correct in his action when he desires something to be done by someone, irrespective of the consideration of the particular case. Maharaj Parikshit was thus put to test for his greatness. Now let's see how he solves it by his sagacious mind. Hare Krishna Mataji.
So now, how can Lord be designated as the cause? Is he the cause of our suffering? Is he the cause of our happiness? But it is again said, Sukham Dukkham Bhavo Bhavo Bhayam Cha Bhayam Evacha Ahimsa Samantaha Tushtis Tapo Damam Yasho Yashaha Bhavanti Bhava Bhutanam. This is from Bhagavad Gita 10 to 4 to 5. Matta Eva Pratagvidaha. Pleasure, pain, birth, death, fear, fearlessness, non-violence, equanimity, satisfaction, austerity, charity, fame, infamy, everything emanates from Krishna. It emanates from Krishna. Causes are not independent, but Krishna is not the cause for our distress. You cannot blame him. But the cause is not independent from him. It is dependent on his will. Our karmas are dependent on his permission. Upadrashta anumanta. We desired. That is why Krishna permitted. If the soul would not have desired, Lord would not have permitted. I desired to smoke. So that smoking activity became the cause of my distress. But then ultimately we cannot blame Krishna. When it comes to happiness, we never tell you Krishna is the cause. When it comes to distress, we are always eager to give blames to Lord. Once king was throwing, every day he used to throw gold coins. Nobody used to look up. They just used to pick up and run away. And the king told the minister, shameless people they are. At least one time, some gratitude they should have. One time they should look up and say, thank you very much. And not even once they are looking up. And the minister told, you want them to look up, not do one thing. You start throwing stones. And say, everybody look. Who is doing that? So when it comes to distress, we are always ready to blame Krishna. But when it comes to happiness, we never give the credit to Lord. So it is said here, the cause is not independent from Lord. We should understand that. So atheistic philosophers, they say there are various causes for our happiness and distress. But theistic, or one who is a devotee, they say the cause is not independent from Lord. That means the cause is dependent on Lord. Now, Sutuvacha Evam Dharma Pravadati Samrad Dvijasattamaha Samahitena Manasa Vikhedah Pariyachashtatam. Sutta Goswami says, when Parikshit Maharaj heard the Dharma speaking like this, Dharmaha Pravadati, Samrat, Emperor heard Dharma speech, Dvijasattamaha, O best of the Brahmanas, Sutta Goswami says to Shaunakadi rishis, Samahitena Manasaha Vikheda Prayachashtaha Tam. So Samahitena, he heard it He heard it with deep satisfaction. And Vikheda, there was no mistake at all. Prayachashtaha means counter replied to him. So Emperor Parikshit was completely satisfied. And there was no mistake or regret in the statement of Dharma. So he was completely satisfied. Yes, he is not just ascertaining a person to be the cause. He says there are different causes given by different scholars, but there is something which is beyond who is the cause for all the causes. Okay. So Pariyachashtaha means now the king is going to answer. Venkatesh Prabhu, read.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Dandavat Pranam. Srila Prabhupada ji. The statement of the bull, the personality of religion, was full of philosophy and knowledge, and the king was satisfied, since he could understand that the suffering bull was not an ordinary one. Unless one is perfectly conversant with the law of the Supreme Lord, one cannot speak such things touching philosophical truths. The emperor being also on an equal level of sagacity, replied to the point without doubt or mistakes. Hare Krishna.
Sometimes you have loose motion. Okay. Immediately we say, yesterday I ate so much. That is why this is the cause. That is only a gross. Whenever there is some sickness, there is so many things beyond. Sometimes graha dosha is there. Our activities, sinful activities is a cause. Whatever has been told is perfectly right. But again, you cannot keep them separate from Krishna. Even though doshas are there, that is not independent of Krishna. If Lord's will is there, those doshas go away. If Lord's will is there, or when we plead to Krishna, then we can improve our karmic reactions also. We can improve our karma. We found the cause, okay. But immediately we should not think, oh, this demigod is the cause. This planet is the cause. Then what we do? Dosha Nivaran is done. In the karma card, it has been told, do the dosha Nivaran. But again, how to do the dosha Nivaran? Keeping the Lord in center. Then you do dosha Nivaran. Nothing wrong. The purpose is what? The purpose is all these doshas goes away and I can serve Krishna very nicely. That is why the effect also should be cause and the effect. Cause is so and so, effect is suffering. So I try to remove that cause or rectify the cause. Then what should be the effect? I should serve more. That should be the effect. If cause is understood, effect is understood, and I try to rectify the cause without understanding the purpose of my rectification, then everything is just zero. That is my karma kand also should be understood in a proper way. Vedavyasa gave karma kand. If it is not understood in a proper way, if it is not anchored in Krishna Bhakti, then everything is just waste of time. What is the use of rectifying our doshas? To enjoy our material senses or to make Krishna happy? Okay, now let us see. After hearing such wonderful statements, what Raja says. Rajovacha dharma bravishi dharmakya dharmosi vrisharupadhrat yada dharma krutah stanam suchakasyapi tad bhavet. The king said, oh, you who are in the form of a bull, Bravishi, you are speaking the codes of religion. Oh, Dharma, Vrisharupadhruk, you have disguised in the form of a bull. And you are speaking that destination speaking the destination intended for the perpetrator of irreligious acts is also intended for one who identifies the perpetrator. You are no other than the personality of a religion. Says you are speaking, O Dharma, by not telling the identity of your aggressor. He did not disclose who is the aggressor. Because it said, whoever points out the sinner also attains the same place as the sinner. Just see, what a powerful statement. Whoever points out the sinner also attains the same place as sinner. Because the moment you say he is a sinner, you are taking that sins from him. I remember in this, our pujari, our temple pujari, he says if you find fault in someone, actually he is relieved from that fault. You are taking his fault. So he never finds out fault in anyone. He says, oh, already I am suffering. If I start seeing faults, I will be taking that fault. This verse proves that. If anybody points out the sinner, attains the same place as the sinner. Your dharma in the form of a bull. So just see the principles of dharma. It is very difficult to digest. Vimala is not digesting. That means aggressor should not be pointed out. He has to be, na? But that is a work of Raja Rishi. That is a work of Raja Rishi. He points out the aggressor, at the same time he has no hatred for the aggressor. Hate the sin, not the sinner. If you have that capacity, then you can point out. That is why only the spiritual master has the authority to see the fault in his disciples. Because he doesn't have hatred for his disciples. He just wants to check their wrong things. Mother has the authority to see the sins of her children. Now, mother is not going to become the sinner there. She wants the children to be corrected. If that attitude is there, then it's nice. But everybody has, whenever somebody is pointing out the sins of others, he doesn't have that compassion while finding out the fault. He doesn't have the compassion. He has fault-finding tendency. And in that fault-finding tendency, he wants the other person to suffer. He wants the other person to suffer. That is why he's finding the fault. Ye doshi hai. But mother doesn't call like that. Prabhupada did not find fault of others. He found, but not in the mood of lowering them. He found the fault to rectify them. And that is a tendency, find the fault and rectify others. Then one will all become a sinner. Then he'll become what? He'll get more credit. Yes, like Prabhupada, he transformed the hippies into happies. He saw their fault, but not in the mood of fault finding. He saw as a mood of a mother. Like when Prabhupada was traveling along with some devotees, a few foreign body devotees, they were saying, oh Prabhupada, see this casino, all sinful people are there. See here, these people are sinful, that people. Prabhupada was quiet till the destination came. Prabhupada said, but when I met you, I did not look upon you as sinner. A doctor doesn't see a patient as sinner. He has compassion. Acharyas or sadhus, they don't see a person as a sinner or a sufferer of in a hellish planet. They just want to remove them from that suffering. If that compassionate mood is there, find out fault and rectify them. Or else suffer like the sinner. He is suffering, the one who is finding the fault also will suffer. So the king understood that this dharma is a knower of dharma. This bull has come in the vesha of a, this dharma has come in the form of a bull. And he really knows that whoever identifies the perpetrator or the aggressor also will get the same destination of an aggressor. Now commentary, Srila Vishwanath Thakur writes, though you should tell me the king who has bait you, you do not say because the person who points out the sinner also goes to the same place as the sinner. I can guess that you are Dharma himself. So, which is based on compassion, purity, austerity, and truthfulness. See what are the wonderful explanations which has been given. That is why when Arjuna speaks on the platform of Dharma, Krishna says, come out of that also. Come out of that. Because Arjuna says, even if he is an aggressor, we should not fight with him. Arjuna says or not? Krishna says, just hear what I say. Because bhakti is beyond dharma. There is something known as Artha Shastra, tit for tat. He bait you, you also go and give him a slap. Artha Shastra. Then something is known as Dharma Shastra, which Arjuna spoke. Even if somebody beats, we should forgive him. This is all Dharma Shastra which is going on now. He is an aggressor. Don't talk about him. He'll go to hell, I will also go to hell. Better I don't want to talk about him. Only Krishna can say. When Krishna tells fight, he is not speaking on the level of Artha Shastra. He is speaking on the level of Bhakti Vyakhyan. Artha Shastra, then Dharma Shastra, then comes Bhakti Vyakhyan Saha. Whatever Krishna says, one has to hear that. Okay. Bindu Mataji, please read.
Hare Krishna Mataji. A devotee's conclusion is that no one is directly responsible for being a benefactor or mischief monger without the sanction of the Lord. Therefore, he does not consider anyone to be directly responsible for such action. But in both the cases, he takes it for granted that either benefit or loss is God sent, and thus it is his grace. In case of benefit, no one will deny that it is God sent. But in case of loss or reverses, one becomes doubtful about how the Lord could be so unkind to his devotee as to put him in great difficulty. Jesus Christ was seemingly put into such great difficulty, being crucified by the ignorant. But he was never angry at the mischief mongers. That is the way of accepting a thing, either favorable or unfavorable. Thus, for a devotee, the identifier is equally a sinner, like a mischief monger. By God's grace, the devotee tolerates all reverses. Maharaj Parikshit observed this, and therefore he could understand that the bull was no other than the personality of religion himself. In other words, a devotee has no suffering at all, because so-called suffering is also God's grace for a devotee who sees God in everything. The cow and the bull never placed any complaint before the king for being tortured by the personality of Kali, although everyone lodges such complaints before the state authorities. The extraordinary behavior of the bull made the king conclude that the bull was certainly the personality of religion, for no one else could understand the finer intricacies of the codes of religion. Hare Krishna
So
Mataji.
four shastras, in which one is Jnana Shastra, Artha Shastra, Dharma Shastra, Jnana Shastra, Bhakti Vyakhyan. So Krishna speaks first on the level of Jnana Shastra. Understand the difference between the body and the soul, Jnana Shastra. And Bhakti, whatever I say, you have to listen. If I say broom the whole battlefield, you should do that. Bhakti Vyakhyan. For Krishna, ready to do anything and everything. Now the compassion, a leader should have such quality. If suppose, generally said, parents are the natural leaders. The children are notorious. And there is punishment which is given by the government. Whoever is notorious, we are going to punish him. Then if they come and tell, can you tell me, is your child notorious? Then the mother will hide the mistake. Understand? That is where she doesn't point out. She wants the rectification, but she will not point out. So a true leader is one who takes all the blames onto himself, but will not point out the mistake of his dependents. If anything wrong is there, it is the leader who is to be blamed. But anything wonderful is there, the credit goes to his dependents. So if that big heart is there, then there is dharma. So just see what are the wonderful teachings in dharma. Our shastras are not like that. Shastras are based on dharma. How should be a wonderful mother, father? How should be a wonderful leader? How should be a wonderful guru? Then, athava deva mayaya nunam katira gochara chetaso vachasaschapi vachasaschapi bhutanamiti nishchayah athava deva mayaya. So it is concluded. What is concluded? Mayaha, Lord's energy is agocharaha. The movement of Lord's energy is inconceivable. Chetasaha, or by words, mental speculation or by words. One cannot estimate, one cannot find a conclusion. It is very difficult to understand Lord's energy. Parishit Maharaj is speaking. Rajuvacha speaks. It's very difficult to understand the conclusion. The course of Lord's Maya is beyond our thoughts and the words. So whatever you have said is true. It's not so easy to understand Lord's energy, which causes maintenance, destruction of the entire universe. Just by our mental speculation, oh, this must be the cause, oh, my only karma is my cause. We may ascertain many things. Oh, this nature is the cause. In the whole atmosphere, there is only vata. That is why I have no vata dosha. Now I have put the blames on what? Nature, climate. But actually, then some say, no, diseases are nothing but ripening our own sins. Some say, पूरा virus, सब जगह virus है, इसीलिए हो रहा है virus. Some say, no, our own karma is the cause. You see, different answers are given for our sufferings. Then some say, no, remove your astrological chart. You have pakka graha dosha, 7.5 chal raha hai. That is why you are suffering. You see, answers are given or not. Somebody is sick. You see, so many reasons are given. And some say, no. He has not fed properly. That is why. He is not eating properly. He is always in anxiety. He always thinks negative of others. His anger is the cause. His mind is the cause. So, by our mental speculation, we cannot ascertain. Then some say, what to do? We have not done any devatas worship. That is, the devatas are the cause. And ultimately, some say, no, Krishna is the cause. He cannot even hear, he cannot even see also. Some say our karma is the cause. So in this way, we find out different reasons. And there can be not just one. There are multiple reasons for our sufferings or our happiness. There are multiple reasons. So very beautifully it has been said. Who is the cause of our problem? Then some may say, oh, this prakriti, full vaat hai na, vaat isliye we are suffering. Some may say, oh, kal ka khana barabar pacha nahi, that is the cause. Somebody can say, no. Whole day I was thinking something wrong, that is why my anxiety grew, my vata grew. That is the cause. Like that we find out different reasons. Okay. That is why it is said, by our own mental jugglery or speculation, Lord's energy cannot be understood. Nature cannot be understood. Even oneself also cannot be understood. We are also Jiva Brahman, Jada Brahman cannot be understood. The movements of the planets cannot be understood. Okay. Usha Mataji, please read.
Hare Krishna. A question may be raised as to why a devotee should refrain from identifying an actor. Hello. Although he knows definitely that the Lord is the ultimate doer of everything. Knowing the ultimate doer, one should not pose himself as ignorant of the actual performer. To answer this doubt, the reply is that the Lord is also not directly responsible for everything is done by his deputed Maya Saka, or material energy. The material energy is always provoking doubts about the supreme authority of the Lord. The personality of religion knew perfectly well that nothing can take place without the sanction of the Supreme Lord, and still he was put into doubt by the deluding energy, and thus he refrained from mentioning the supreme cause. This doubtfulness was due to the contamination of both Kali and material energy. The whole atmosphere of the age of Kali is magnified by the deluding energy, and the proportion of measurement is inexplicable. Hare Krishna.
Why is it that Dharma did not say this person is the cause? Here Prabhupada says the doubtfulness was due to the contamination of both Kali and material energy. So Dharma is speaking, whatever is speaking is right. But still the supreme cause has not been spoken. The supreme cause. Why? Supreme cause is Krishna only. Why directly it has not been told Krishna is the cause? Because we are in delusion. In the age of Kali, we identify or ascertain material energy to be the cause. So in the age of Kali, various reasons have been spoken. This is the cause, that is the cause. Supreme cause is unknown to everyone. Supreme cause of all causes is Krishna. That is unknown to everyone. That has been given. Okay, 24th verse. Tapa shaucham daya satyam iti pada krute kruta adharmam shaistrayo bhakna smaya sangam adaistava saga smaya sangam adaistava. So in the age of Satya, you had 4 legs. That is Shaucham, Daya, Satyam, Tapaha. But now what happened? 3 of your legs are broken. Because why? Because of too much of association with women. That is why pride has entered in you. Tapasya has gone. Intoxicated. Only little bit satya is remaining. Mercy has gone. Cleanliness is gone. Austerity has gone. What is remaining is little truthfulness. That also will go. Next verse is going to speak. Okay. Ramakrishna Prabhu, read.
Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam. The deluding energy or material nature can act upon the living beings proportionately in terms of the living beings falling prey to the deluding attraction of Maya. Moths are captivated by the glaring brightness of light and thus they become prey to the fire. Similarly, the deluding energy is always captivating the conditioned souls to become prey to the fire of delusion, and the Vedic scriptures warn the conditioned souls not to become prey to delusion but to get rid of it. The Vedas warn us to go not to the darkness of ignorance but to the progressive path of light. The Lord Himself also warns that the deluding power of material energy is too powerful to overcome, but one who completely surrenders unto the Lord can easily do so. But to surrender unto the lotus feet of the Lord is also not very easy. Such surrender is possible by persons of austerity, cleanliness, mercy, and truthfulness. These four principles of advanced civilization were remarkable features in the age of Satya. In that age, every human being was practically a qualified Brahmana of the highest order, and in the social orders of life, they were all Paramahamsas, or the topmost in the renounced order. By cultural standing, the human beings were not at all subjected to the deluding energy. Such strong men of character were competent enough to get away from the clutches of Maya. But gradually, as the basic principles of Brahminic culture, namely austerity, cleanliness, mercy, and truthfulness, became curtailed by proportionate development of pride, attachment for women, and intoxication, the path of salvation or the path of transcendental bliss retreated far, far away from human society. With the progression of the age of Kali, people are becoming very proud and attached to women and intoxication. By the influence of the age of Kali, even a pauper is proud of his penny. The women are always dressed in overly attractive fashion to victimize the minds of men, and the man is addicted to drinking wine, smoking, drinking tea, and chewing tobacco, etc. All these habits are so-called advancement of civilization are the root causes of all irreligiosities, and therefore it is not possible to check corruption, bribery, and nepotism. Man cannot check all these evils simply by statutory acts and police vigilance, but he can cure the disease of the mind by the proper medicine, namely advocating the principles of Brahminical culture or the principles of austerity, cleanliness, mercy, and truthfulness. Modern civilization and economic development are creating a new situation of poverty and scarcity with the result of blackmailing the consumers' commodities. If the leaders and the rich men of the society spend 50% of their accumulated wealth mercifully for the misled mass of people and educate them in God consciousness, the knowledge of Bhagavatam, certainly the age of Kali will be defeated in its attempt to entrap the conditioned souls. We must always remember that false pride or too high an estimation of one's own values of life, undue attachment to women or association with them, and intoxication will divert human civilization from the path of peace. However much the people clamor for peace in the world, the preaching of the Bhagavatam principles will automatically render all men austere, clean both inside and outside, merciful to the suffering, and truthful in daily behavior. That is a way of correcting the flaws of human society, which are very prominently exhibited at the present moment. Hare Krishna.
See how Bhakta Bhagavat always brings devotees to Grantha Bhagavat. This is the work of the Bhakta Bhagavat. Ultimately, what is the solution? Bhagavatam is the solution for everything. Idanim dharma padaste satyam nirvartayedhyatah tam jighrukshatya dharmo yam anrutenaiditah kalihi. At this present moment, O Dharma, padhate satyam nivartate Somehow you are hobbling on one leg, and that is truthfulness. But jigrukshati, that also will be destroyed by adharma, by deceit. So the Kali, which is now flourishing, anrutena, by deceit, that is going to destroy your fourth leg also, on which you are standing. Just on one leg you are standing. Okay. Aruna Mataji, read.
Hare Krishna. Purport, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The principles of religion do not stand on some dogmas or man-made formulas, but they stand on four primary regulative observances, namely austerity, cleanliness, mercy, and truthfulness. The mass of people must be taught to practice these principles from childhood. Austerity means to accept voluntarily things which may not be very comfortable for the body, but are conducive for spiritual realization. For example, fasting. Fasting twice or four times a month is a sort of austerity which may be voluntarily accepted for spiritual realization only and not for any other purposes, political or otherwise. Fasting, which are meant not for self realization but for some other purposes, are condemned in the Bhagavad Gita 17.5 and 6. Similarly, cleanliness is necessary for both mind and for the body. Simply bodily cleanliness may help to some extent, but cleanliness of the mind is necessary and is effected by glorifying the Supreme Lord. No one can cleanse the accumulated mental dust without glorifying the Supreme Lord. A godless civilization cannot cleanse the mind because it has no idea of God, and for this simple reason, people under such a civilization cannot have good qualifications, however, they may be materially equipped. We have to see things by their resultant action. The resultant action of human civilization in the age of Kali is dissatisfaction. So everyone is anxious to get peace of mind. The peace of mind was complete in the Satya age because of the existence of the above mentioned attributes of the human beings. Gradually, these attributes have diminished in the Treta Yuga to three-fourths, in the Dwapara to half, and in this Kali, and in this age of Kali to one-fourth, which is also gradually diminishing on account of prevailing untruthfulness. By pride, either artificial or real, the resultant action of the austerity is spoiled. By too much affection for female association, cleanliness is spoiled. By too much addiction to intoxication, mercy is spoiled. And by too much lying propaganda, truthfulness is spoiled. The revival of Bhagavata Dharma can save human civilization from falling prey to the evils of all description. Hare Krishna.
इयं च भूमिर्भगवता न्यासीतोरुभरा सती श्रीमद्भिस्तत्पदन्यास्यै सर्वतः कृतकौतुकः इयं च भूमिः, the earth, the burden of the earth was diminished because of Lord. Bhagavataha Nyasitaha. He was personally present. That is why Srimad Bhi, all auspiciousness was there. Because of these footprints, everywhere there was only good fortune. So the burden of the earth was diminished by the Lord. Iyam Bhumi Bhagavataha Nyasitaha. He performed. And the Bhara, this great burden, was completely removed. Sati Srimad Bihi Tadnyasaha Sarvataha Krita Kautuka. So in this way, the burden was removed by Lord. Then, 27th verse. Shauchatyaha Shru शौ शौचत्यश्रुकला साध्वी दुर्भगे वोञ्चिता सती अब्रह्मण्या नृप व्याजाः शूद्रा भोक्ष्यन्ति मामिति. Now we know the story that how Mother Earth, being burdened by the sins, goes along with Brahma and other demigods to Shridakshayi Vishnu. Their Lord appears and says, Lord's voice is heard. All of them are singing Krustukta. Lord says, don't worry, I'm going to appear. Now what happened? Now the chaste one, that is the Mother Earth, now she is very unfortunate. Durbhaga. Why? She is lamenting for her future. Krishna has disappeared. He has unmanifested himself. So now she is there in the hands of Shudras, the low class. They are going to enjoy her. She is going to be ruled by all low class people who are going to pose as rulers. That is why she is lamenting on her own future. Durbhaga iva uchchittaha. She is seeing her own future. Abrahmanyaha. There will be no Brahminical culture left. Nrupavyajaha. There will be people who will be forced to, show them, pose as rulers. They are all low class people. Okay. Vrindavan Mataji, please read.
Hare Krishna. The Kshatriya, or the man who is qualified to protect the sufferers, is meant to rule the state. Untrained lower class men or men without ambition to protect the sufferers cannot be placed on the seat of an administrator. Unfortunately, in the age of Kali, the lower class men without training occupy the post of a ruler by strength of popular votes. And instead of protecting the sufferers, such men create a situation quite intolerable for everyone. Such rulers illegally gratify themselves at the cost of all comforts of the citizens. And thus, the chaste Mother Earth cries to see the pitiable condition of her sons, both men and animals. That is the future of the world in the age of Kali, when irreligiosity prevails most prominently. And in the absence of a suitable king to curb irreligious tendencies, educating the people systematically in the teaching of Srimad Bhagavatam will clear up the hazy atmosphere of corruption, bribery, blackmail, etc. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Iti dharma mahim chaiva santavyat vaitva maharatah nishata madade khangam kalaye dharma hetave. Iti dharmam mahim cha. Now, Maharaj Parishit, who could fight 1,000 enemies single-handedly, thus pacified Santava Itvaha, pacified the dharma and the earth. Maharathi is one who can fight 10,000 chariots at a time. Now what did he do? He pacified them, but he knew who has done this. He took a sharp sword, Nishatam Khadgam. That's the work of a Kshatriya. Adate, he took to kill Kalaye Adharma Etavaha, to kill the personality of Kali, who is a cause of irreligion. So he has done his action. Dharma has done his action, and Kshatriya is doing his action. So Kali thought, it is not possible for me to fight with him. A Kshatriya cannot surrender. Therefore, giving up the king's cloth, I will fall at his feet. So that is the next verse. So 28th verse explanation is given by Srila Vishwanath Thakur. He took his sword in order to kill Kaliye. This expresses the king's intention. By seeing the sword in my hand, let this person wearing the marks of a king come to fight with me. I'll quickly kill him. Okay, Raksha Mataji, read.
Hare Krishna Mataji. The Prabhupada ki jai ho. As described above, the personality of Kali is the who deliberately commits all kinds of sinful acts which are forbidden in the revealed scriptures. This age of Kali will certainly be full of all activities of Kali, but this does not mean that the leaders of the society, the executive heads, the learned and intelligent men, or above all the devotees of the Lord, should sit down tightly and become callous to the reaction of the age of Kali. In the rainy season, certainly there will be a profuse rainfall, but that does not mean that men should not take means to protect themselves from the rain. It is the duty of the executive heads of state and others to take all necessary actions against the activities of Kali or the person influenced by the age of Kali. And Maharaj Parikshit is the ideal executive head of the state, for at once he was ready to kill the personality of Kali with his sharp sword. The administrator should not simply pass resolution for anti-corruption steps, but they must be ready with sharp sword to kill the person creating corruptions from the angle of vision of the recognized shastras. The administrator cannot prevent corrupt activities by allowing the wine shop. They must at once close all shops intoxicating drugs and wine and force punishment even by that for those who indulge in habits of intoxication of all descriptions. That is the way of stopping the activities of Kali, as exhibited herein by Maharaj Parikshit, the Maharatha. Hare Krishna.
तं जिघां सुमभिप्रेत्य विहाय नृपलाञ्छनं तत्पादं मूलं शिरसा समागाद्भयविह्वलः. So when the personification of Kali understood that the king was willing to kill him, Nupalanchanam, he was dressed like a king. Tadpadamulam, he fell at his feet. Shirasa Samagata, he took his shelter, completely surrendered to him. Bhayavinmaha, under the pressure of fearfulness. Immediately what he did, he took the shelter of the king. He at once abandoned the dress, Vihaya, left the dress of the king, came to his original personality, whatever personality he had, and then original form, and then took shelter of the king. Okay, Aruna Mataji, read.
Hare Krishna. The royal dress of the personality of Kali is artificial. The royal dress is suitable for a king or Kshatriya, but when a lower class man artificially dresses himself as a king, his real identity is disclosed by the challenge of a bona fide Kshatriya like Maharaja Parikshit. A real Kshatriya never surrenders. He accepts the challenge of his rival Kshatriya and he fights either to die or to win. Surrender is unknown to a real Kshatriya. In the age of Kali, there are so many pretenders dressed and posed like administrators or executive heads, but their real identity is disclosed when they are challenged by a real Kshatriya. Therefore, when the artificially dressed personality of Kali saw that to fight Maharaja Parikshit was beyond his ability, he bowed down his head like a subordinate and gave up his royal dress. Hare Krishna.
Okay, last verse. Patitam padayorvirah kripaya deenavatsalah sharanyo navadichallokya ahatedam hasanniva. Fallen at his feet. Somebody falls at your feet, what you should do? You should give him shelter. Na? So Maharaj Parishit also did the same thing. Now, Maharaj Parishit was qualified to accept surrender and worthy of being sung in history did not kill the poor surrendered and fallen Kali, but smiled compassionately, for he was kind to the poor. Kripaya, out of compassion, Deenavatsalaha, he was very kind to the poor. He saw that this person has fallen at the feet. Sharanya. Sharanya here refers to he is qualified to accept surrender. Not that everybody can accept surrender. He is qualified. Na avadhit, he did not kill. Shlokyaha, he is fit to be sung or is worthy to be sung. And in this way he smiled at Kali. Okay, Sachadev Prabhu, please read last verse.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Even an ordinary Kshatriya does not kill a surrendered person. And what to speak of Maharaj Parikshit, who was by nature compassionate and kind to the poor. He was smiling because the artificially dressed Kali had disclosed his identity as a lower class man. And he was thinking how ironic it was that although no one was saved from his sharp sword, when he desired to kill, the poor lower class Kali was spared by his timely surrender. Maharaj Parikshit's glory and kindness are therefore sung in history. He was a kind and compassionate emperor, fully worthy of accepting surrender even from his enemy. Thus, the personality of Kali was saved by the will of Providence.
Okay, stop here. So, any questions you can ask? Okay, Vimla Mataji.
So, Mataji, what is the ultimate cause of suffering? Because all schools of Indian philosophy except Charvak believe in the law of karma. And
Yes,
they
all
believe,
many reasons are there. Your karma is
Ah.
a reason, graha is a reason, many things are there. Ultimately, karma is also the reason. Nature is also the reason. That is why it is very difficult to ascertain one particular person. And then sanctioner is Krishna. Ultimately, he is the cause.
so all schools believe in that, no? That God is the controller of the law of karma, except
Yes.
Charvak. So then, what is there that we are not able to understand? Means,
We are not able to understand that whatever activities we are doing, we are thinking it separate from Krishna. That is the problem. That is why we face simple reactions. The moment we understand our activities are dependent on Krishna, and if we try to do everything for Krishna, then we will not face sinful reactions. Prarabdha, bija, kuta, everything will be nullified. Bija, kuta, prarabdha, everything can be destroyed just by taking shelter of Krishna. Then a person who is completely Krishna conscious is beyond these dualities, is beyond sufferings. What is Charvak philosophy? Again, atheistic philosophy only. So all this atheistic philosophy they just think about the present suffering and happiness. They are not concerned about the bliss, the real bliss, which is beyond sufferings also, beyond happiness also. That is why akarma has been spoken by Krishna. It starts with Nishkama Karma Yoga. So what is Krishna conscious movement? It is to remove this suffering. Whatever may be the cause, our graha or whatever it may be the cause, previous life impressions, karma, vima, whatever, we can immediately remove this just by taking shelter of Krishna.
thank you, Mataji.
Okay, Vrindavanila Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Mataji, here we see that Parikshit Maharaj is one way being glorified for showing compassion to Kali Purush. But Mataji, even like in Bhagavad Gita, as we read earlier also, even charity can also be in different modes. So it should be given to a deserving person. So even when it comes to compassion also, it should be shown to a deserving person. Here Kali is being an opportunist in the sense like he knew that he will not be able to fight him back. That is why he is giving up his real whatever he was in the garb of a king. So he is giving up that false identity. Otherwise, he would not have given up. He would have continued. And by showering the mercy on him, it is just not Parikshit Maharaj who is getting affected, but other entities will also be suffering because of that forgiveness. So king has to be more responsible. So how can we praise him there?
That is again the desire of Krishna. Kali has to enter, no? Kali has to start. Kali Yuga has to come. So the compassion shown by Parikshit Maharaj, though seems to be it is not worthy actually. He should have not shown the compassion. But being a king, somebody comes and takes shelter, he's not supposed to kill him. He's going to give him punishment, but not going to kill him. Like a
Mataji, of course.
Brahmana Dronacharya was knowing that Ashwathama has come to him. Sorry, Drishtaketu. Drishtadumna has come to him to
for
learn.
Seeking.
Even though knowing that, as a liberal teacher, he taught.
Yes.
Sometimes the dharma forces a person to do that. Though he doesn't want to do it, forces a person. A liberal teacher, he has to do. Like in the temple, there will be a miscreant who will be in the temple council meeting, temple councillor.
Yes.
In TMC, there will be one miscreant. But still, the management will not remove him. Because managing means managing even the wrong people and employing whatever samarthya they have in service of Krishna.
I don't know, Mataji, like my foolish mind tells me that it should be defined by the repercussion that it will have. Like suppose it is affecting others, then
it's affecting others, but it has to be. I think that is what is a world. World is designed in that way. There are good people also, bad people also. How to employ even the bad people in service of Krishna.
Mataji, it may sound very mundane, but for example, like we see Prithviraj Chauhan, he forgave him so many times, 17 times he has forgiven, but still the result was like it totally changed the course of our Indian history. Our culture got destroyed. So had he been more sagacious, this wouldn't have been the result. So I think especially when one is at a position of leader, then compassion should be shared on somebody who is deserving. I don't deny Krishna's plan behind that. What I am protesting is then why should he be glorified? Why should Parikshit Maharaj be glorified when he's showing mercy to the wrong person?
That was the need of the hour. Like you say, oh, the temple president is so wonderful. He's keeping all the type of people with him.
Yes.
So that time we appreciate the temple president, though one of the temple councillor will be very, he may be very harmful to others. But still it's the expertise of the temple president to manage everyone. To some extent, the praising is done.
When you say all this, Mataji, I'm just thinking, then I'm very much to be condemned. I cannot be that good.
Now, Srila Prabhupada's movement, do you think everybody is Dut Ka Dhula?
No, not like that. But
And
when
Prabhupada has tolerated all of
I'm the
us,
only one who is getting affected, then I don't care so much. But when I see because of that person, so many more lives will be at stake, then I may not.
But still, the law is like that only. Somebody is taking shelter, even if artificially, the immediate thing is done is protect him. And many people came and took shelter of Srila Prabhupada. Some took wrong advantage of it. But Prabhupada gave shelter. Prabhupada knew. It's not a Prabhupada did not know.
Mataji, it is also said that it is a will of Lord. That's why this happens.
No, of course, Krishna's plan is there, Mataji. I was not denying that. Mataji, I have one more question. Like here we see, this is just at the beginning of Kali, like Kali Yuga has just begun. And we see his bull is speaking so nicely. Parikshit Maharaj is able to converse with him. So how was that communication taking place, Mataji? Like what language was being spoken there?
Sanskrit.
Means they could speak, bulls could speak in that language very well. And here,
Yes.
as a human being, also, I'm not able to. I need word to word meaning. It's nice.
Degradation of knowledge
Yes.
of
And
language also.
one more question, Mataji. Mataji, here we see bull is also a symbol of dharma. And Yudhishthir Maharaj is also Dharmaraj. And somewhere or the other, the approach is similar. But at the end, we see Yudhishthir Maharaj fighting the Mahabharat war. And here we see he is not ascribing anybody the responsibility for his suffering. So
Yudhishthira
why?
Maharaj also did not hold anyone responsible. In fact,
Yes,
he
but
said,
he fought, no, Mataji.
he fought because Krishna wanted him to fight.
But he was not able to recognize that they were the ones
But
who...
he was in lamentation. That is why again Bhagavad Gita had to be spoken to him through Bhishma.
Wow, very well. Every session is so much full of enlightenment, Mataji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you.